Hello and welcome. I'm Rick Hours, and if you're watching this video, that means that you have found your way to the Blackboard site of the Staff Council that is in the process of being formed here at Shenandoah University. We will be using this site and other means to keep you informed about the Staff Council as it moves into its creation and into its actual operation. With me today is Amy Hammond and George Hoffman, who were both members of the planning committee that has basically created the document that will define the Staff Council. Amy, initially you and Laura Seville were asked to sort of take this up and get it going. What was the initial charge from the president as far as this project?
The initial charge was to think about the question that was asked during a staff meeting a year or so ago, that we need some representation for staff. We have Faculty Senate representing faculty in the governance process and SGA representing students. But at that time we didn't have a voice for staff. So she asked us to think about it, do some research, see what other schools did, and then get a team together, get some volunteers to start thinking about it and block it out.
Talk a little bit about the process that this committee has been through over the last number of months.
Well, we started back in early summer after the end of the spring semester, and we just put our call out for volunteers. And we ended up with 12, 13 people, I think, came together, and we had a series of good conversations about what is needed, what do staff want, what can staff bring to the governance process, and how do we go about doing that. So we had a series of meetings, and we came up with a mission statement to start, to say this is what the organization is, what we're going to try to do. And then we had a small group pull off from that to be the ad hoc bylaws committee, and we spent weeks from that point until recently drafting the bylaws that we presented to the president.
What were some of the resources that were pulled in to create what has eventually become the Staff Council bylaws?
Well, the research we did, we looked at a lot of schools. We started with the schools in Virginia we call our peer schools. And it was surprising of that maybe a dozen or so, maybe I'm working from every half or so, did not have anything to represent staff. So we went a little further and we just started looking at schools across the country. And in the end, I think we had between 35 and 40 schools that we looked at, compared their documents to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm. So the bylaws is created. Mm-hmm. It went to the president. Mm-hmm. She basically approved it, but suggested a few changes. Came back to the committee, but we do have an approved document now. Mm-hmm. Where are we going from here over the next couple of weeks? What's going to happen?
We're starting this week, the week of December 5th, to send information out to staff. We're going to be using Sun-E. We're going to be using emails. We're posting things on this new Blackboard site that George has created to, over a series of weeks, tell staff what council is, why it's going to be existing, what they can benefit from being a part of it, or just if they don't want to become a staff council member, how they can use the council to be heard.
Okay. George, we've talked about this Blackboard site, which you have created for the Staff Council. What will this site be used for?
Basically, the Blackboard organization, it's called, will be used as a repository of information. We've already got the bylaws and our mission statement up for people to read. It'll be used to link to things like our election site. When we finally do our elections, we'll probably have a link directly from the Blackboard site to let people know how to get there. It'll be a way that we can create announcements and send them out to people, and it'll be a place where people can come and see what's going on, what the Staff Council's actually working on while it's going on.
Now, how will the typical staff member find this site on Blackboard?
Good question. They log into Blackboard. Blackboard, of course, if you don't know, is at learn.su.edu. That's the web address, the URL. They sign in with their SU username and their password, the same way they'd sign on to any computer on campus. And when the Blackboard site opens up, you're automatically on the SU tab. under that SU tab are a few subtabs, one of which is organizations. When you click on organizations, in the first module or square that comes up, you will see a link to the Staff Council organization. Everybody's automatically enrolled. All our benefited staff are automatically enrolled, and that's updated daily.
And this same site will be used after the first of the year for the nominations process and then the elections process. How will that work?
Well, our thoughts are that we'll probably use Google Forms to do our elections online, but they can be accessed more easily through our links that we'll put in Blackboard. They'll be shared that way. They'll be shared with the whole group that's in that organization, and it'll be broken down. There are 3 categories of benefited staff, so it'll be broken down so that everybody knows who's in what category.
Okay. Amy, who actually is eligible to be a part of Staff Council?
Anyone who is a benefited staff member.
Okay. Now that can include, that's primarily full-time staff, but it could also include some part-time staff. So,
Because the president of Staff Council will represent staff on the university cabinet, be a seated member of that group, the only staff members who will not be allowed to be on Staff Council will be any staff member who is already on university cabinet. But other than that, if you're a benefited staff member, you're eligible to nominate yourself, be nominated, be elected, and be a member.
on reflection, what has this process been like to go through this from literally a blank sheet of paper up into having a fairly extensive document?
For me, it's been an illuminating process to work with people that I might have only known a little. I had met George, didn't really know him very well, but to hear all the thoughts about what staff needs here at Shenandoah, what staff can bring that they're not already bringing as individuals, and to hear the rationale, the discussion, sometimes the disagreements on what we wanted to have Staff Council be and how it might operate.
Mm-hmm. George, your thoughts on the process?
A lot of the same. I'd like to say also Amy was a great leader in this process, but I would say that we got a feeling for a little more of people's passions and their ideals and their values and those things that are so important to them where their workplace is concerned. So it was an illuminating, that's a great word, an illuminating experience for all of us, I believe. And a great lesson in compromise and working together, teamwork. It was a good experience, a really good experience, I believe, for all of us.
So we want to reinforce the fact that the Blackboard site is the place to go for information.
Absolutely.
The next couple of weeks, the end of the year, we will be basically doing our little dog and pony show to help people understand what is going on, and then the process, and after the first of the year.
At the first full staff meeting on Friday the 13th, I'm not superstitious, but it's going to be a good meeting. We will, hopefully everybody will be educated by then and will know what Staff Council's all about. Well, they will have read the bylaws and be excited and enthused about possibly representing their fellow staff members to come forward either to nominate themselves or be nominated. And we will kick off the election process at the staff meeting on Friday the 13th in January.
Okay.
And meanwhile, watch your email. We also have a method of sending out emails via our organization. So watch your emails for little announcements there. That's a good way that we can communicate with everyone.
Very good. It's been an exciting process. I think it's going to be even better, and I think staff have a lot to look forward to with this process really coming to fruition at the beginning of the year.
And I think we should also add that, Rick, you have been a member of the planning committee
Absolutely.
as well, and we're very involved in drafting the bylaws.
Thank you.
A lot of input.
It was a real pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing some information with us today. We will have more as we go through the process. Mm-hmm. And again, if you found your way to this site, you now know where to come for information about the Staff Council. Thank you for being with us today. I'm Rick Howers.